What makes you sad always? Knowing that every time I leave for work my dog really doesn't know if he'll come back or not. Remembering those old times I spent with my friends back in 2010 in MC and Roblox. Good people getting the shit end of the stick usually makes me feel apologetic for them. The song You Are My Sunshine. Animal abuse. When Uncle Ira sings Leaves from the Vine. Sadness. Thinking about the day my parents won't be by my side anymore and how I'm going to miss all the little everyday things that I get to experience now. When a couple is looking forward to the birth of their child and the pregnant woman has a miscarriage. Knowing that I bombed out of the best relationship I've ever had at a point where my dating pool is incredibly tiny and I'm only getting older and uglier. People always tell me to hold out hope, but sometimes there is no hope. The fact that there are dogs out there that really just want some love, but get abuse instead, breaks my heart thinking about it. Thinking of my family. Seeing animals abused. Humanity has no real future outside of Earth. I wouldn't give our species more than a few hundred years. We will inevitably continue to poison our environment until the planet will no longer be habitable. These ideas of renewable energy are futile. Do you know that a Boeing airliner burns a gallon of fuel every second? Oh, but electric cars will save us. Well, where does that electricity come from? Most electricity is generated from, you guessed it, fossil fuels. From the burning of coal and natural gas etc. to spin the generators. Modern society is built upon a system which will destroy us, and it will never be undone for both political and economic reasons. Feeling constant regret and guilt cause I think I am the one who made my whole family's life terrible, even though when I think about it it's not my fault. A Bridge to Terabithia. I'm pretty sure it's the only movie I've ever cried watching. The US political system. Thinking about my ex-boyfriend who killed himself. We love you, Chris Heck. Having enormous access to news, statistics, and video of all the horrible things in this world but no power to solve them. Waking up. The Jacksonville Jaguars. The fear that I might not feel true happiness or find the motivation to live anymore. Les Miserables. Remembering that I don't need to do a particular thing that I used to do for my dog because she died 2 years ago. When my dad yells at my sister but I can't step in because he's gonna beat both of us. Seeing neglected children. Truly breaks my heart. Animals being mistreated, I suppose. Thinking about my ex-girlfriend. Life is so short and I wanted to spend every moment with her, traveling, discovering life, experiencing happiness and sadness with her. Knowing I'll never get any of that makes me sad. A whole different life taken away. It's quite strange. I've already moved on a bunch, but thinking about that overall idea is sad, especially when you know you loved the person. Seeing how many problems there are in the world and not being able to change any of it. Looking at my cat's little face and thinking he won't be around forever. Holocaust. Not to be edgy but humanity. Images of upset faces. You see this a lot in doctors' offices, on charts you're asked to point to measure pain. I'd hate to be the guy who has to point to the crying face. Doubly anxiety inducing if it's an upset face illustrated on something non-human. Think, a lung that looks in pain on an anti-smoking PSA, or a sick-looking planet Earth on environmental promotion. Also blood and discussion of the circulatory system, and failures in the circulatory system. Being reminded of my absent father when I see my son. Abortion is never a happy subject and it honestly makes me sad. Knowing one day I won't have my mum around frown. My personal finances. I rescued my dog from a puppy mill. She was used to breed innumerable puppies. And sometimes I remember that she was forced to breed and then had all her children stolen from her. I know she's a dog but I just get so freaking sad thinking about this sweet girl being forced and then never having the chance to know and say goodbye to her children. Knowing that my grandparents are going to pass away soon. This gets me real depressed real fast. I don't know if this is just me, but sometimes I become hyper aware of the world. It's like I'll think about the horror going on in somewhere like South Sudan, the genocide going on in China of the Muslims, or the rampant sexual assault that goes on in the world, and it just feels like a ton of bricks hitting me all at once. They don't directly affect me, but at the same time I feel like if my grandkids ever ask me how I responded in those times, I can't give them a justified answer. Thanks for the guild. When dogs die in movies. That we have a shitty relationship with our son since he got married. Remembering great memories from my youth and realizing that I'll never get to experience them again or even try to recreate them in similar fashions because of how growing up has taken me and my friends so far from those times and places. The intense nostalgia makes me miss those experiences so hard, I could cry. Thinking of when I left my dad but wanting to go back because the bad things about him are overshadowed by good memories. Feeling really good about myself, only to go out in public and get misgendered, and feel miserable as ever. Edit, welcome to the wonderful experience of being openly trans in a non-trans sub. And you all wonder why we need safe spaces. Child exploitation. Thinking about much effort will be required to stop climate change and save our environment, and that it most likely won't happen. The thought of my many deceased grandparents that I knew and loved in heaven staring down at me. Knowing one day one of my parents will lose the other and have to keep going for a period of time. Also the Iron Giant. That humans are wired to suppress bad feelings/news/experiences as a survival tactic. The only way to keep living despite global suffering is to plug your ears or bury your head in the sand. The song Rude. The song at the end of True Grit. Watching my country's moves. When Uncle Iroha sings Leaves from the Vines in Atla. Knowing about the Yilin Dog Meat Festival in China. I unknowingly clicked on a link showing a live dog being cooked alive and it brought me to tears. Actually, I was sobbing. It was the most painful thing I have ever witnessed, and to add to the horror, the dog's mother was watching it happen and was powerless. WTF is wrong with anyone who could not only slowly boil a live dog to death, but enjoy it? The images continue to pop into my head and I tear up every single time, pretty much daily. Deleted. Children's hospitals. They try so hard to make them cheerful and happy, but no one is ever there because things are going well. Disabled animals. It's compounded by the fact that they do not know they are disabled. Happy animals that can't use their legs makes me cry every time. My mom passed away recently, at only 49 years old. My biggest fear was losing her. I can barely function anymore, and feel like I lost my will to live. My life feels surreal now. Every time I think of her I am so beyond devastated, it's indescribable. Edit, thank you to everyone who said kind things or shared their stories as well. I will be reading all of your comments. My mom was my best friend, and things have been really challenging lately. Sad that the USA is not us. The divisions have split families and friends. Also sad that you can't discuss these things rationally. Life in general, it really sucks, man. Today was a convenient day for this to pop up, cause today is my birthday, and I wanted to skip my online classes to celebrate my birthday. My mom was fine with it, but my dad literally said who cares if it's my birthday, and stuff like that. There's a video of a bird's last song, as it desperately looks for a mate, but it's the last one of its species. I'll try to find the video. Update, look up Kawaii to find it. The thought that you grow up to watch your family and friends die and leave your children to mourn over your own death. Thinking about my future and how unclear it is. Waking up. Stupid people. So I am literally always sad. I work in a call center for a popular roadside assistance company, and sometimes I have members that call in to take their children off their membership because they've passed away. Deceased spouses and parents I can deal with, but there's something especially dark about speaking with someone who has outlived their own child. My existence. Thinking of my dad. He passed 2 years ago and we were really close. I haven't been the same person since, I don't think I ever will. Feels like I lost a big part of myself and am a shell of who I used to be. Knowing that NBC will never have another amazing Thursday night lineup like they did 10 years ago. We had 30 Rock, The Office, Parks and Rec and Community all on together, and it was amazing TV. When I forget I made a cup of tea, and by the time I remember it's gone cold and I have to microwave it.